Scooby-Doo, unknown diseases to one's cock and balls, and a wedding segment that made Roman Reigns look good. What the fuck did I just watch? Let's talk about it. You know, I'm sitting here trying to collect my thoughts about what the fuck we just seen tonight, and I can't do it. I can't do it. My eyes are heavy, my brain is scrambled, and all I want to do is go to sleep. All I want to do is go to sleep, man. You know, doing this, I love doing the YouTube thing, I love doing the podcast thing, but it's nights like these that I fucking hate more than anything, because I don't even know what the fuck to talk about. I don't even know where to begin. WWE tonight scripted this as if they did not have a care in the fucking world that they have the 29th annual SummerSlam pay-per-view coming up in 2 weeks. You figured they'd be booking for fucking St. Valentine's Day Massacre with the fucking massacre of a show we seen tonight. I don't know what the fuck happened behind the scenes in WWE tonight. It's like this show was written right before 8 p.m. at 7:59. The show was just being completed for Monday night. Why? Why tonight were we given such a terrible fucking show? 2 weeks away from SummerSlam, and this is what you give us? Seriously. Scooby-Doo, unknown diseases to your fucking junk, to your cock and balls, to your privates, Roman Reigns, and the fucking wedding that was so cringeworthy that it made Roman Reigns look fucking good at the end of it all. We had Daniel Bryan come out in the main event. I understand why Daniel Bryan was out there, but in the long scheme of things, I don't know what the fuck we just seen to close the show. Impromptu WWE United States Championship matches, an Anaheim crowd that was completely fucking dead, wrestling for a 3-hour program that didn't eclipse double digits. What the fuck did we watch tonight? What did we watch this week on Monday Night Raw? I can't even sit here and be upset. I can't even sit here and be upset. I told you guys after the first show of this new era, and everybody was jumping for joy. Everybody was like, oh my God, Monday Night Raw was so great. Finn Balor was so great. Monday Night Raw was fantastic. The new era is here. The draft is going to be great. I'm the only one that I know of with a logical fucking brain that came on here and immediately told each and every one of you, calm down. Slow your roll, bro. Yeah, Monday Night Raw was great for that first show of the new era. They did everything fucking right, introducing a new championship, pretty much creating another superstar in Finn Balor. Everything flowed great. Things made sense. SummerSlam was off to the fucking races with the build. And I said, it's the shows that follow that are going to determine what WWE does in the new era with Monday Night Raw. And we got a fantastic show in week 1. We got a good show in week 2. And what did I say after week 2? What did I say after week 2? All I want is a good show. I don't expect WWE to duplicate what they did in week 1. It would be unfair of me to ask that of WWE, because I know shows like that only come around once in a blue moon. I will take okay to good, as long as things make sense, as long as they build towards SummerSlam, as long as we get decent in-ring action and lively crowds and a 3-hour program and a format that just flows nicely. I'll take good. What were we given tonight? This show was absolutely fucking miserable. I wanted to fall asleep at the 9 o'clock hour. Honestly. This show can stand toe-to-toe with the July 4th episode of Monday Night Raw. This show might actually have been worse than the debut episode of SmackDown, week 1 in the new era. That's how fucking terrible this show was. And if you don't like what I'm telling you, please go suck the proverbial WWE.com cock and be one of those goons that say, did you like Monday Night Raw tonight? And click yes on their Twitter poll. You're not going to find many people that like the show on this channel, on this podcast. I don't give a fuck. This show was fucking miserable. Absolutely miserable. Absolutely nothing made sense on this show. Nothing. I don't know what I watched. Seriously. I cooked dinner. I was getting ready for a fucking SummerSlam build for Monday Night Raw, and I got absolutely no enjoyment out of this show whatsoever. It was a terrible struggle for me to stay awake. And I love doing this, but like I said, when shows like this happens, I gotta take the good with the bad, and this was fucking terrible. It's very difficult for me to come on here and do a review for a show like this because of how bad it was. Seriously. And there's nothing of interest. I'm telling you guys right now, there's absolutely nothing of interest on this show. Nothing. We didn't get Sami Zayn. We didn't get Nia Jax. We got the same old WWE Monday Night Raw garbage. It was very reminiscent of Raws that we seen WrestleMania season. It was reminiscent of Raws we see back in 2015. Where did they go wrong? I mean, were they booking a fucking daytime talk show on NBC on a Tuesday night? Or were they or Tuesday afternoon? Or were they booking a legit wrestling program to build towards their 29th annual SummerSlam? I don't know whether I'm watching Ellen DeGeneres or Monday Night Raw. It's very tough for me to distinguish the two at this point. Awful. Absolutely fucking terrible. That's all I'm going to say about that. Outside of the opening segment, that's it. This show went downhill and it never fucking recovered. At all. I don't know what else you guys want me to tell you. I don't. Anaheim, California, the Honda Center was Monday Night Raw. They picked up, again, from last week, and started the show off with Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, Enzo and Cass, and they're doing their thing. I'm very intrigued by this feud, simply because of the interaction between all 4 individuals involved. I actually had a few goons on my Twitter say, Enzo is trying too hard to be cool. And some of the things Enzo says goes over people's heads. Well, if you sat down and listened to when someone like Enzo Amore speaks, nothing will go over your head. He speaks very clearly. He speaks intelligently. He's witty. He's charismatic. And he's easy to understand. Nothing goes over anybody's head when Enzo talks. If it does, then you're a fucking goon. And he's not trying hard at all. It just comes natural. Enzo Amore is a natural talent on the microphone. The same thing cannot be said about Big Cass. I don't know what happened with Big Cass down in NXT and the Big Cass we see on Monday Night Raw, but he sounds a little bit more manufactured on Monday Night Raw. He speaks very slowly. There's no intensity behind what he says. He sounds very scripted and robotic on Monday Night Raw. Whereas in NXT, when he was with Enzo, it was just very natural, you know? And he was very boisterous and loud and free. Monday Night Raw seems to be, I don't know, handcuffing him a little bit. He just sounds very robotic. Enzo's got free reign to do whatever he wants. Enzo, if you listen to him on the Stone Cold podcast, this was on podcast 1, by the way, with Stone Cold Steve Austin on Unleashed. He actually scripts his own promos. He has a notebook of things that he writes down, and Vince McMahon gives him free reign as long as he stays within the guidelines of WWE PG Initiative, and he goes out there and pretty much says what he wants. You think people backstage in Monday Night Raw are that witty to script Enzo Amore's promos for him? Absolutely fucking not. Enzo's not trying. He's not trying at all. It just comes naturally to him. Now, I honestly thought that Enzo and Cass were going to be challenging for the Tag Team Championships at SummerSlam. I was wrong. I admit that. I had no idea that the WWE was going to give Anderson and Gallows this opportunity after the way they've been built up so far. So it's a shock to me. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I mind this match at all. I actually enjoy this shit. Enzo and Cass versus Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. I like the dynamic here of all four men. They're very humorous. The jokes are flying back and forth. It's funny. It's entertaining. I would have actually liked to listen to these guys for another 15 more minutes than see the wedding that we got with Rusev and Lana, or the fucking terrible Scooby-Doo segment with Golden Truth. I would have much rather see these guys for an extra 15 minutes than some of the shit we've seen on this show tonight, but whatever the case may be, this actually led to an Enzo Amore versus Chris Jericho match. And this is where Monday Night Raw started to go downhill, and downhill fast. I mean, I enjoy Enzo and Big Cass as a tag team. It's going to take a little bit more from me to get used to seeing Enzo in the ring by himself. I don't know what it is. Jericho's great at what he does. His character's fucking brilliant. Loving what he's doing so far with his return back to the WWE this year, but it was just very slow, and it was very methodical, and it was very boring, and there was no excitement at all. The only excitement came towards at the end when Big Cass pretty much big booted fucking Chris Jericho, and that was it. And that sent Jericho and Kevin Owens running, and at that point, there was a challenge issued for SummerSlam. Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, whatever the fuck you want to call them, Y2KO, Jericho, whatever the fuck you want to call these guys. I don't know. Jericho, but it's going to be Jericho and Owens, the Canadians, going against Enzo and Cass at SummerSlam. So I like that match. I like the dynamic of all four. We got 2 more weeks with these guys to see where they're going. And there's really not much built up on this match at all. There's not much going on here. It's just comedy and wittiness and charisma that all four men, possess. Simple. But I'm enjoying it. Very intrigued by what they got going on right now. Braun Strowman versus Jorel Nelson. We all know Braun Strowman's music sounds like fucking Goro walking into the fucking pit of doom in Mortal Kombat. Sounds like Goro is introducing him with his theme music as his theme music hits the PA system. Actually, Jorel Nelson had a better theme music or better theme song than Braun Strowman, which was fucking bizarre to me. Strowman's music's terrible. What's even more terrible is his finishing move. Strowman's finishing move is absolutely one of the worst fucking things I've ever seen, man. It's fucking sloppy. When you got guys like Jorel Nelson and fucking all these other scrubs that they got going in there against Braun Strowman, you should be making these moves look devastating as fuck. It's sloppy as fuck. I don't know what's going on. This reverse chokeslam is absolutely atrocious. It reminds me something of what the Great Khali would do, but even at that point, the Great Khali's chop or the Great Khali's fucking double-handed chokeslam was better than whatever Braun Strowman's delivering nowadays. But 1 minute, Jorel Nelson went nowhere. What'd you think was going to happen? And I'm telling you right now, I said this how many weeks ago? That Braun Strowman is saying everybody's going to fall, and somebody's going to challenge Braun Strowman, and that one man's going to be the Big Show, and I'm going to sit here and I told you, or I'm going to sit here and tell you I told you so, because I see it coming, and I don't want to jinx anything for anybody, but I could certainly see it coming, and I would not put it past WWE to deliver us that type of cancerous material on Monday Night Raw, or, in fact, SummerSlam. Just letting you know right now. If you see Big Show versus Braun Strowman, you know where you heard it first. You heard it from my mouth, right here on my channel and my podcast, and it's going to be fucking miserable. And I don't know if WWE is watching me. Who the fuck knows? God knows they fucking take the idea and actually use it thinking that it's a good idea. No. Braun Strowman versus The Big Show is absolutely fucking a miserable idea. I would rather see Jorel Nelson every fucking week than Big Show. Please. Don't do it. Because I know it's coming. Titus O'Neil versus Darren Young. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Tommaso Ciampa and fucking Johnny Gargano mentioned something about, Monday Night Raw's got Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, two tag team partners. Now the Cruiserweight Classic has got us two going one-on-one for the right to advance in this Cruiserweight tournament. How you even put those two fucking matches in the same breath is fucking ridiculous. Who the fuck told him to go out there and say that? And he said this, I don't know where I seen it. I don't know if it was on the Cruiserweight Classic or it was like a post-show or it was like a WWE.com exclusive. How can you even fucking compare Titus O'Neil and Darren Young versus Ciampa and fucking Gargano? Are you fucking kidding me? What goon would even think that is even the right thing to say, respectable thing to say? Who gives a shit? I seen Titus O'Neil and Darren Young enough to the point where I don't want to see it anymore. Titus O'Neil got the victory last week with a fucking handful of tights. What do you think happened this week? Darren Young beat Titus O'Neil the same way. A roll-up with a handful of trunks. So that leaves... We got Jericho and Enzo went 11 minutes. It wasn't really exciting for 11 minutes, but it went 11 minutes. That was the longest match of the night. Strowman 1 minute. And we got Darren Young and Titus O'Neil went 2 minutes. So out of 3 matches here, minus that first one, we got 3 minutes of wrestling. 3 minutes of wrestling. Okay? You add that to the 11 minutes, that's 14 minutes. 14 minutes of wrestling in the first hour. The rest was filled with fucking promos and commercial after commercial after commercial. So there you go. 14 fucking minutes. Hour 1 was miserable. Start hour 2 off with Seth Rollins. And he says that he is the Jared Leto to his Heath Ledger, if you will. Or Finn Balor is the Jared Leto to his Heath Ledger. Comparing Jokers. I have not seen the fucking movie that's out now with Jared Leto. The fucking Suicide Squad. I'm not a big movie guy. But Heath Ledger is my favorite Joker of all time. And that was a fucking unbelievable beast-like performance, which I can watch over and over and over again and not get bored. Rest in peace. But he talks about how everybody's talking about the demon, and he's going to let everybody know who Finn Balor really is. Apparently, Finn Balor is a take on a famous warrior and a demon king, which would be like Seth calling himself Rambo Apocalypse. Seth wants to know the real Finn Balor and where he came from and why he insulted Seth in his ring. Balor has had 2 matches in the WWE and now thinks he's some big star, according to Seth Rollins. The reason Seth is so arrogant is because he knows his place in WWE. He's not ignorant. He doesn't need to surround himself with myths and legends because he knows who he is. One day, parents will tell their kids stories about Rollins conquering people like Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Roman Reigns. His legend will be expanded at SummerSlam when he adds Balor's name to the list while taking the WWE Universal Championship. Same old here. Nothing really happened. You know, Rollins looked decent. He sounded decent. But, I mean, it's just keeping the wheels rolling for SummerSlam. Nothing that was going to fucking knock your socks off as far as the promo goes. We'll talk about Finn Balor's promo in a little bit when we get to that segment. Next, we got Sheamus versus Cesaro. This one went 11 minutes. We actually got some wrestling here in the second hour. Let me tell you something about Sheamus and Cesaro. I enjoy both men's work. I don't hate Sheamus at all. I love Cesaro, and I love what he brings to the table. The crowd was fucking dead for this match. I mean, the crowd was fucking dead. Honestly. Sheamus is very good at what he does, but nobody gives a fuck about Sheamus at all. Nobody gives a fuck about Sheamus. You can probably say the same thing about Cesaro at this point in his career. Nobody gives a fuck about Cesaro, and that's a damn shame, because he's fucking great at what he does. And I think a move to SmackDown is probably what would be best for Cesaro, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on that towards the end of this review, because Cesaro is in the main event segment. This is not the last time we would see Cesaro on Monday Night Raw. He beats Sheamus for a second week in a row with a roll-up at 11 minutes, and Cesaro beats Sheamus 2 weeks in a row on Monday Night Raw. This is probably not the last we're going to see of Sheamus either. If you guys watched the main event, Sheamus interfered in that match later on in Monday Night Raw's main event. Brock Lesnar, we take a look at Brock Lesnar. This is probably the most entertaining thing besides Finn Balor's promo of the evening. There was a few entertaining segments on this. None of them were wrestling. No wrestling segments were entertaining at all on the show. It was all fucking promo packages that were entertaining. Fuck everybody else, and fuck the SummerSlam build that you're apparently, looking at 2 weeks away from now. Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar. 15 years in the making. They talk about the OVW class with Lesnar and Orton and Shelton Benjamin and Batista and Cena. And they debuted in 2002. Lesnar left because he didn't like people and he wanted to pursue his fortunes elsewhere. Lesnar, I became a megastar and he just became a star, which was hilarious. Heyman says Orton is the best surfer on the beach, riding all those big waves, but then Lesnar is the shark. We see Lesnar laying Orton out on SmackDown for the 4th time in this very episode, because we didn't see it enough already. But Orton says it only takes one RKO. And then Lesnar says all he does is eat, sleep, and shit opponents. That line itself made this entire fucking promo worth it, man. Lesnar fucking dropping F-bombs and fucking just saying whatever the hell he wants because he is Brock Lesnar, and they were bleeping him out left and right. And that's what you got to have Lesnar do, man. You got to build excitement by letting Lesnar go out there and say and do what he wants. Lesnar, when he cuts a promo with Paul Heyman in these sit-down segments, is absolutely fucking gold. We're going to see Lesnar on Monday Night Raw next week. So that'll be the last Raw before SummerSlam. Going to be interesting to see what they do with 1 week left before the big match at SummerSlam with Randy Orton. Dudley Boys versus Sin Cara and Neville. This match went 5 minutes. Apparently on the pre-show, the Dudley Boys confronted Neville, calling him Mighty Mouse, and challenged him and a mystery partner of his choosing to a tag team match on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, I thought it was going to be Sami Zayn, but fuck me, it wasn't Sami Zayn. Everybody's asking me, JD, where's Sami Zayn? I don't fucking know. Maybe Sami Zayn stayed away because he knew the show was fucking terrible. Why the fuck would he want to be on this piece of shit? He did himself a favor and sat back in the locker room, sitting by catering, munching on fucking grapes and fucking other exotic fruits. Who gives a shit? Sin Cara ended up being Neville's partner. And he looked like a fucking, I don't know, he had that black outfit on. He wearing a black mask and the black outfit. And the outfit that was rumored that he was going to be wearing upon his heel turn, but that never happened. But Neville and Sin Cara beat the Dudley Boys. No botches that I'm aware of. And there was a red arrow to Devon. 5 minutes and 18 seconds there. Red arrow to Devon by Neville. And the way, I don't know if you guys seen it, the way Bubba Ray Dudley looked at Devon was kind of a look of disgust. I don't know what that was about. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but the Dudleys, listen, the Dudleys are going nowhere. WWE has absolutely no interest in pushing the Dudleys as a threat to the tag team titles on Monday Night Raw. Why not just break the Dudley Boys up and give Devon something else to do? Give him a trainer role, give him a backstage producer role or an agent, and let fucking Bubba Ray Dudley go out there and be Bully Ray. Seriously, I think that would be the best thing, and you could certainly add another mid-card to upper mid-card level heel on Monday Night Raw. You got to do it, man. That's probably the best thing for the Dudley Boys right now, and as a tag team, they're going nowhere. But Neville and Sin Cara win. At the end of the day, who gives a shit? Honestly, who gives a shit about this? Nothing of importance for SummerSlam or this show whatsoever. What do we got here? Sasha Banks versus Dana Brooke. Now, this really didn't make any sense. It really didn't make any sense. Sasha Banks and Charlotte going one-on-one at SummerSlam. We all know the deal. The rematch for the WWE Women's Championship. Sasha Banks, instead of accepting the one-on-one match and living with the fact that she's got to defend the title against Charlotte so quick at SummerSlam, one-on-one, she goes to Mick Foley earlier in the evening and wants a handicap match for the Women's Championship because she wants to teach Dana Brooke a lesson. She wants to show Dana Brooke why she's a legit boss. So what we do now as champions is we make things harder for ourselves, or the champions make things harder for themselves. I don't understand that. Dolph Ziggler did it on SmackDown, in which he didn't have to. Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan both pleading with him, you don't have to fight Bray Wyatt. You already got a fucking one-way ticket to SummerSlam, blah, blah, blah. You're in the championship match. If you lose, you're not going to be in it. Sasha Banks doing the same thing. Give me a handicap match with Dana Brooke and Charlotte at SummerSlam. What? This is what we do now as champions? I understand the fucking mentality of a fighting champion, but, I mean, don't be fucking retarded. Seriously. So Mick Foley says, okay, if you beat Dana Brooke is banned from SummerSlam. She won't be at ringside. It'll be you and Charlotte one-on-one, no outside interference. Yeah, let me see that happen. And if you lose, then it's going to be a handicap match, and you got to defend your women's championship against Dana Brooke and Charlotte at SummerSlam. Really doesn't make any sense. And if they just wanted to fucking ban Dana Brooke from ringside, they just could have had the one match without Sasha Banks fucking acting like a clown and a goon and saying some retarded shit. Or they could have had, they shouldn't even have the match at all, because Dana Brooke is awful, number one. Number two, we've seen this match how many fucking times already? I'm sick of seeing this fucking match. We've seen it 4 times in the last month and a half. Spare me, please. And the match went 2 minutes. Barely anything happened. Nothing of importance. Double knees. Sasha Banks beats Dana Brooke. Okay. Does anybody give a fuck? No. Rusev and Lana. The most cringeworthy fucking wedding segment I think I've ever seen on Monday Night Raw. They're in their wedding clothes, and they got the cake and the champagne, and they're going to talk about this very special occasion. We get to experience their wedding day. Who gives a shit? You got married, you had a fucking fantastic honeymoon. I'm pretty sure Rusev had a fucking blast. Fucking clown. We don't need to relive anything. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, what are the fucking people on Twitter saying? You know, they want everybody to relive their wedding day. Yeah. Did you film it? Did you film what happened after the honeymoon? That's all everybody's asking. I don't give a fuck. So we see a package of their wedding. Lana's in her dress, and they're about to exchange their wedding vows, and then obviously Roman Reigns comes out like, we didn't know this was going to be happening on Monday Night Raw. Who the fuck scripted Roman Reigns to come out there? Fans boo. They have no idea how wrestling works or what they want. Reigns was in the back watching and wondering why Rusev didn't have a best man. Maybe Roman can fill in that role, and offers to give them newlyweds a toast. Rusev says, no, I don't want your toast. So Reigns issues a challenge for SummerSlam. Roman pours a drink and makes wedding jokes towards both, causing Rusev to go after him. A right hand knocks Rusev into Lana, sending her right into the wedding cake, and Lana screams, I hate you, and starts screaming fucking crazy. And she got fucking white cream all over herself. And no, not the white cream that I think you goons are fucking thinking about. Wedding cake cream, you fucking degenerates. So it was a waste of a fucking segment. All this did was pretty much delay time and fill a time slot in which you could have put a Nia Jax match, a Sami Zayn match, another fucking tag team match to build up your tag team division. You could have had another women's match, something. You could have gave extra time to Rusev and Cesaro that had a match at the end of the night. Anything but this shit. This was nothing but a fucking excuse for Roman Reigns to come out there and make corny jokes and book a fucking United States Championship match with Roman Reigns and Rusev at SummerSlam, like we didn't know that was going to fucking happen. It was a waste of everybody's fucking time. Awful. Cringe. That's all this segment was. Cringe. And Roman Reigns actually took 2 glasses of champagne. Now, can someone please clarify for me if alcohol is banned in the WWE wellness policy violation, and why WWE allowed this man to drink live on air? I don't know. Does this mean Roman is going to get another violation for drinking? Is he now an alcoholic on top of a drug violator? I don't know. Someone find this out for me. Very confused. Anyway, that's ended. Thank Christ. Kofi Kingston versus Luke Gallows. This was actually one of the funniest segments of the night. We get Gallows and Anderson dressed as doctors to discuss a condition called Ringpostitis. I'd rather have Ringpostitis than watch this fucking show again, which has been sweeping through the entire roster as of late. We see clips of Big E getting crushed on the post last week, and Anderson has a jar with eggs in it. He had a jar of eggs in water, pretending that they were Big E's balls. And they recently performed surgery, and the results were nuts. It makes you want to bawl your eyes out, and Gallows got a little testy. Tonight they collected another sample from Kofi Kingston, and Gallows and Anderson, hilarious at what they do, man. They fucking nail this segment. That was probably one of the better segments of the entire evening. Again, a non-wrestling in-ring segment. Same thing with everything else on this fucking show. So Kofi Kingston versus Luke Gallows. 1 minute and 33 seconds. Kofi Kingston squashed by Luke Gallows. Again, I don't know what the fuck I'm watching tonight. The New Day squashed. They were about to fucking give Kofi Kingston ringpostitis, and Xavier Woods makes the save, chasing both Gallows and Anderson away with a steel chair, and that was pretty much it. But that match is booked for SummerSlam. The Club, Gallows and Anderson versus The New Day at SummerSlam for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Finn Balor had an excellent promo. Goons. Excellent promo. I think he works better, and I think he should be in these backstage segments a little bit longer until he gets affiliated and comfortable with the crowds on Monday Night Raw and a live setting on Monday Night Raw. We get to sit down with Finn Balor, who talks about the origin of his name. Now, I knew where his name came from. I didn't know the history of his name, so I learned something new today, including a famous warrior named Finn. Then there was the King of the Demons, Balor. These just aren't stories, but rather a source of power. When a warrior knows his power isn't enough, he can tap into these things and become a greater power than himself. Seth has never seen a demon like this, but he'll meet the king at SummerSlam. Excellent promo by Finn Balor. And then next week, they're already promoting that Finn Balor is going to be there, but Seth Rollins wants not Finn Balor, but he wants to call out the Demon King. So that's going to be interesting with 1 week left before their epic match at SummerSlam. Goldust and Scooby-Doo, R-Truth, who gives a fuck? They're nothing. This is nothing but fucking garbage to, promote the new Scooby-Doo movie and the WWE movie that they did together. Whatever, dude. Fucking absolute trash on Monday Night Raw. Daniel Bryan is there, and we didn't see him until the end of the show because WWE knows that Daniel Bryan can hold interest, and people figured, you know what? Bryan's going to be there. He's going to be in the last segment. Maybe they wait a little bit longer to watch the closing of this show to see what Daniel Bryan has to say. And nothing that Daniel Bryan said was of importance. They pretty much stroked each other's egos and stroked each other's cock at the end of the fucking night. Yeah, you're doing a great job as Monday Night Raw GM. You're doing a great job as SmackDown GM. And, there's a little bickering back and forth to try and create competition between the two brands. But Mick Foley, in the end, apologized for Brock Lesnar attacking Randy Orton. Bryan did no such thing. All they did was show Daniel Bryan making fun of the Universal title name by saying, we're going to have a Milky Way title and a fucking extraterrestrial title and all this other shit that he said a week ago on SmackDown. And then Mick Foley said, listen, this isn't a joke. Rusev comes out of nowhere in his in-ring gear to interrupt. Rusev sucks up to Mick Foley, calling him the greatest general manager of all time. Cesaro comes out saying that he's earned the championship match with his last two performances by beating Sheamus. Bryan throws a fucking inside jab, which probably has a whole lot of meaning at the end of this night. He says, Cesaro, I think you've been completely underutilized on Monday Night Raw. Mick Foley says, stay out of this, Daniel. Mick makes the match right now, right here, main event, U.S. title match, Cesaro versus Rusev. And it was okay. I don't like I don't like fucking matches that aren't announced ahead of time. This was willy-nilly. Rusev beats Cesaro here. Unadvertised, kick to the head. 9 minutes and 50 seconds. Sheamus interrupted here. Rusev pokes Cesaro in the eye to set up a bro kick, followed by another kick to the back of the head. He retains the title at 9 minutes and 50 seconds. What I think this does here, honestly, is now that Shelton Benjamin is gone from SmackDown, at least for the time being. He's got to get rotator cuff surgery. He's going to be out. He was going to be a vital part of that mid-card, upper mid-card scene on SmackDown. What I think they're going to do now is I think Monday Night Raw can really sacrifice at least one guy. I think they could sacrifice more than one guy if they want. Cesaro, I think, is going to be moved over to SmackDown because of what is going on here. I think with Benjamin being out, I think they need a solid mid-card face on SmackDown to pretty much fill that gap. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. I think they're going to move Cesaro, or they're going to have a storyline correlating with Cesaro, Foley, and Bryan, where Cesaro gets his wish to go over to SmackDown and wrestle for Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan and be the face of that mid-card division, maybe get an Intercontinental Championship run Maybe he takes the IC title. I would love to see matches with him and Apollo Crews. I think that would be fucking great. But I think this is what it's all leading towards with Cesaro. Monday Night Raw honestly can shed a guy or two from their roster, and they could still be okay, especially with the way they're booking shows. I don't know why they're booking the shows the way they are. What happened to the formula of the first week? Everything was so great. We got wrestling. We got the guys going out there and giving us 20, 30-minute fucking matches. Whatever the case, man, I don't understand why they just loaded this show with nothing but talking segments, 1-minute matches, 2-minute matches. I mean, it's very bizarre to see Luke Gallows and Kofi Kingston in a 1-minute fucking match. I mean, we got Cesaro versus Sheamus in an 11-minute match, but it was fucking boring. Nobody gave a shit. Jericho and Enzo, 11-minute match. Nobody gave a shit. We got 10 minutes of a United States Championship match that was unadvertised. Nobody gave a shit until the final fucking minute. And just nobody gave a shit about this show. And the reason why nobody gave a shit about Monday Night Raw is because Monday Night Raw and the people that booked this fucking show did not give a shit about the show going into tonight's show. And that shows, and I say it all the time, if you give us the type of shit that you gave us tonight, it's going to show on television, and people like me and you are going to complain on Twitter. We're going to fucking fall asleep. We're going to fucking change the channel. We're going to find something else to do. We're not going to be watching Monday Night Raw. There was literally no interest in Monday Night Raw. It's like WWE already had their matches laid out for SummerSlam. They went about it in the most laziest fucking way to announce the matches. We got a tag team title match with The New Day and Gallows and Anderson. We got a U.S. Championship match with Rusev and Roman Reigns. We got a tag team match with Enzo and Cass versus Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. And that was pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it. The main highlights here were Brock Lesnar's promo with Paul Heyman talking about Randy Orton. Finn Balor's excellent promo talking about his heritage and where he came up with the name Finn, the meaning of Finn and the meaning of Balor. Seth Rollins cut a decent promo. We had Gallows and Anderson with their comedic skit dressed in the doctor's outfits. Everything that was good tonight was nothing to do with what happened in the ring. It was all comedy. It's like WWE booked a fucking talk show or a fucking midday, a midday talk show like Oprah or Ellen DeGeneres on a Monday night, man. This is not how you handle your flagship show. This show was just as bad as the July 4th edition. In fact, this may be one of the worst. This show may be one of the worst shows of 2016. Absolutely fucking terrible. Stands toe-to-toe with the July 4th edition Monday Night Raw. Awful. And I said it. They need to come out and give us good shows. They need to make sense of what's going on. They need to build towards their pay-per-views. It's unfair of us to compare the first week to everything else that they're doing because WWE is not going to give us those types of shows every single week as long as they give us good shows. And I said the weeks to follow are going to be the most important. Now you see what I'm talking about. This is the third week into the new era. We got one more Monday Night Raw before SummerSlam. And WWE has gotten worse every fucking show. First show was amazing. Second show was good. This show was fucking awful. So the way the track record looks, the way the fucking graph looks is that they're going down. That fucking downward spiral is happening. What's going to happen next week? Is it going to be worse than what we've seen this week? I don't know. But as of right now, after this Monday Night Raw, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what SmackDown has in store. SmackDown, minus the NXT and the Cruiserweight Classic, SmackDown may be the best show by default for the main roster this week in WWE, man. Absolutely miserable Monday Night Raw. If you missed it, don't even bother. You didn't miss a goddamn fucking thing. That's my review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you're thinking down below in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up. I absolutely have no energy when it comes to these type of reviews, man. There's nothing for me to say. There really is absolutely nothing for me to say, and I hope you guys understand that, man. This show was fucking terrible. If I could have fallen asleep immediately after the show went off the air, I would have done so, and I would have even done this review. I do it for you guys. I honestly do it for you guys. There's no reason for me to come on here and review this type of show. That's how fucking terrible it was. But if you guys enjoyed the video, let me know down in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about Monday Night Raw. We got SmackDown tomorrow. I'll be back with SmackDown live review following the show. It should be a little bit more easy on the eyes because it is a 2-hour show. This show just completely fucking dragged. 3 hours and 20 minutes of absolutely nothing. And then Wednesday I'll be back with the Cruiserweight Classic and the NXT review. If you guys missed anything on my channel, man, I did a King of the Ring First round match, I got Nakamura and Balor, and then Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles, man. Go check that shit out, man. I'm putting a lot of work into these videos. I would greatly appreciate it if you guys show some support for those WWE 2K videos. The road to WWE 2K17. If you guys missed Off the Script as well, that is down in the description below. And if you guys missed the iTunes podcast, iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, Audio Boom, and Google Play Music, my Patreon page, patreon.com/JD from NY206, and follow me on Twitter at JD from NY206, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not done so already. I'm out. I'm going to fucking go to sleep, try and forget this miserable Monday Night Raw, and I'll see you guys right back here for SmackDown Live Review on Tuesday night. I'll talk to you later.